Hey guys, it's Sandro here, and today's video is all about getting the best possible result when applying your favorite tyre dressing. Now, I did my very best to find an old, dirty browning tyre for this video, as if it works well here, it should really be far easier to clean and dress your own tyre to perfection. Now, just before we dive into preparing the tyre, I'm just going to give the rim a clean, and while I'm doing that, I want to discuss a few important things. Firstly, this video isn't about how to quickly clean and dress a tyre. It's all about leaving time and cost at the door and going for the best possible outcome. So this certainly isn't the way I clean and dress every tyre, because unfortunately time and cost is an important factor in the real world that needs to be considered and appropriated. Secondly, if you're dealing with a near new tyre, this is probably overkill and largely unwarranted work that won't have the same dramatic impact as it would on an older, neglected tyre. Thirdly, just like car paint and trims, tyres can also vary greatly in the specific rubber used, its quality, feel and finish. Add to that how old it is, how it's been maintained and used, and I can certainly tell you that some tyres are just simply a nightmare to clean and dress to a high standard, while others clean up relatively easy and seem to clean up great no matter which dressing you use or how you apply it. So just like everything else detailing related, tyres too may require an adjustment in your technique to obtain the best results. And lastly, you guys don't need to use exactly what I'm using here. Although these are some of my favorite tyre preparation products, there's certainly many other great products out there that can also do the job. Now, in my experience, although general pH balanced wheel cleaners and iron removers are great for cleaning car rims and can also work well for a basic tyre maintenance clean, they're just nowhere near as effective on tyres, especially if the tyre is in dire need of a good thorough clean. Alkaline-based all-purpose cleaners and degreasers will do a better job on tyres, and if I had to choose my favourite tyre cleaner as of now, it would have to be Shine Supply Wise Guy, as it just works so well at breaking down grime on even the worst tyres, and after over a year of using it, I've yet to see it do any damage on car wheels. So it's not only extremely effective, but also quite safe in my experience, which is absolutely vital. Now, if you spray it on while the tyre is still dry, you'll actually see it work a little better, but it also works just fine if the tyre is wet. I'll give it a minute or two to dwell and start doing its thing, and then I'll use a stiff, short bristled nylon brush to scrub off the first layer of gunk. Good products are one thing, but good technique is the other half of the equation, and when cleaning aged and weathered tyres, you have to use a lot of elbow grease and spend a good amount of time scrubbing it down. And a good time to stop is usually when your hands and arms start aching. Now, if the tyre isn't too bad, this can usually do the trick, but more than likely when you're dealing with a badly soiled and brown tyre, you will need to repeat the process if you do want that high-end result. So what I've found is that using a smaller, stiffer brush along with your larger brush can also help get those edges near the rim cleaner in a safer manner, and it can also help dislodge and remove stronger bonded grime around lettering and textured tyre bits a little better. A smaller brush also forces you to be more precise, so there's definitely an added benefit if you're looking for the best possible results. Another thing I want to quickly touch on here is stronger petroleum or solvent-based cleaners such as kerosene or turpentine. Now I can tell you that they work extremely well to remove build-up grime and even older, stubborn tyre dressings. But my advice, based on my own experience, is to try and avoid them or at least largely limit their use, as although they are effective, they also tend to dull, dry, and over time compromise at least the look of the tyre wall that starts to lose its richness and replaces it with an old, weathered look instead. Now it's hard to see the true effects of your cleaning outcome when the tyre is still wet, so to truly judge your work, it's best to dry it, as that'll reveal if you've done a truly great job. Once you're happy with your cleaning result, another step that is all about preparing the tyre for a dressing to the best possible standard is performing a final IPA or wipe down. For this I'm using Shine Supply Throwback, which is more or less an IPA mix with a little extra cleaning power. What this is going to do is remove any chemical residue and even further clean that top layer of the tyre for a squeaky clean result. And if you've done this whole process right up until now, you should start to feel more grippiness and tackiness on the tyre, which is a fantastic sign that it's not only clean but also ready to create a stronger, lasting bond with your tyre dressing of choice. So onto dressing the tyre. I'm using NV Onyx for this demonstration, which I absolutely love. But like I said, you can just use your favourite tyre dressing instead. The key to this first step here is to be a little more generous than normal with the amount you use, and also use a brush to massage the dressing into every little nook and cranny. The thing about brushes is that they firstly can get into finer areas that a foam applicator can't, or at least not quite as effectively. And secondly, unlike a foam applicator that will absorb half the dressing, brush bristles won't, but rather keep on working the dressing over the tyre without removing or absorbing it. I like to spend a few good minutes doing this, and going over the whole tyre wall several times to ensure the best possible coverage. And after I'm done, I'll let it sit for a good hour or so while I go and do the other 3 tyres. After an hour or so, you'll hopefully see that at least half of that excess dressing has self-absorbed on the surface. So this is the point that I'll now use a foam applicator to further massage the remaining dressing over and into the tyre wall for another good few minutes. So while a brush is better at initially priming and treating the tyre, a foam applicator is just superior at creating a perfect uniform finish to avoid any streaks or patchiness. I'll then walk away for another good half hour at least and allow the dressing to further sit and bond to the rubber. My last step here will be knocking the dressing back with a cloth to create a beautiful matte to satin new tyre look finish, which is my ultimate goal. Now the look or finish of the tyre is a completely subjective thing. Some guys like a flat, rich finish, while others prefer a slightly more satin to mild gloss finish, and some people will prefer a more old school, glossy, shiny finish. The great thing with many tyre dressings like Onyx is that you have the ability to influence that look based on your personal taste. So if I want a more satin rather than matte look, I wouldn't have done that final knockdown wipe with the cloth. And if I want a more satin to glossy look, I could continue to apply another layer or two to increase the gloss levels. Additionally, I could also use just a higher gloss tyre dressing instead. But for me personally, I absolutely love this look, which is somewhere in between a matte to satin finish, which is more or less a factory new look. Now, as I mentioned, this isn't something I do every time I dress a tyre, but doing it once or twice a year really does transform an older tyre into something that looks amazing. The last point I want to touch on here is water-based, shorter lasting tyre dressings versus solvent-based, longer lasting tyre dressings. I know for a lot of you guys that you just want a dressing that's going to last for months. I get it, it's easier. But once again, based on my own experience, stronger solvent or petroleum-based tyre dressings, just like stronger solvent-based cleaners, just don't do any favours to your tyres in the long run. So although these dressings without a doubt last longer, once you clean them off, which is also a very difficult task, the rubber beneath always looks a little duller, drier and more brittle. Water-based dressings simply don't last as long, but they are super easy to clean off and reapply, and in my experience don't harm the look or finish of the tyre, which is something to consider. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please share this video, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to show your support for this content, and I'll see you guys soon.
Hoping and praying one day that they do. Oh, I don't know how, and I don't know when. Just patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting each day that goes by. Staring out windows at stars in the sky. Imagining one day I'll be one of them, but patiently waiting till then. Maybe I'm wasting time, maybe I've lost my mind.